Seven young children ran away into the Malaysian jungles and vanished without a trace. Almost 50 days later, only 2 made it home alive. The deaths plunged their reclusive Orang Asli tribe into mourning. But there was also anger and suspicion. I'm Steve Chow. On this episode of 101 East, we journey deep into the country's heartland and ask, was this an isolated tragedy or a symptom of decades of neglect?
These parents are heartbroken and in unbearable pain. 2 months ago, their children disappeared. The youngest was just 7. They had prayed for them to come home, but not like this. On a hot Sunday afternoon in late August 2015, 7 young children ran from their remote boarding school into the surrounding jungle. Before long, they were deep inside the forest, lost and frightened. Stumbling through the trees, they fell down a steep ravine onto the banks of a river. As she fell, 9-year-old Ika was pierced through her leg by bamboo. The youngest child, 7-year-old Jazeera, was also injured. Slowly, after many days, they died. Linda was swept away by the river. 8-year-old Sasa is still missing, but presumed dead. Only bones and fragments were found of Haikal. His 10-year-old sister, Noreen, is one of only 2 children to survive this ordeal. She was found after 47 days, emaciated and on the verge of death. She told rescuers that her friends had begged her for help as they died. She could only watch as their bodies were eaten by animals. The tragedy has devastated this close-knit indigenous community that lives deep in the jungles of Kelantan State in northern Malaysia. Most of the dead children were from the same village, and all of them belonged to the reclusive Orang Asli tribe. But the community's sorrow is matched only by their anger. Their children were wards of the state, sent to a government boarding school so they could one day lift their tribe out of poverty. Instead, they returned home in coffins. The families want to know what drove their children from their school and who is responsible for their deaths. Mida binti Anggar is searching for the answers. While her daughter Noreen survived, she lost her 8-year-old son, Haikal.
When I saw Noreen at the hospital, I asked her, "Where's your younger brother Haikal?" She said, "Mum, Haikal has already gone." She said that her brother had died there beside her, and she wasn't able to help him.
But Noreen is still traumatized, so Mida has to hold back her grief to help her.
She cries when she's hungry or thirsty. She cries when she wants to go to the bathroom or to sleep. She cries about everything. She wasn't like this before.
Mida says she doesn't know exactly what happened to Noreen in the jungle, but the little she has revealed is shocking.
The bodies decomposed slowly, one by one. They saw this happen to Juvina and Ika. They saw maggots coming out from their bodies. At night, they were scared. They didn't sleep till the morning.
It took the school almost 2 days to tell the police that the children were missing. Authorities then accused the parents of hiding them.
They said that we are hiding the kids and searched for them in all the houses.
The school sent Mida this letter threatening expulsion if her children didn't return. Weeks after her rescue, Mida's daughter is still too frightened to speak about what happened. But her older schoolmates tell us why the children ran away that Sunday afternoon. They say they were scared of their teachers, who had threatened to beat them because they swam in a nearby river.
Anak kamu tiba is Kamis.
Anak ki mana benar peluk kan.
Elok dah perlu.
Cik.
Jeli?
Apa jadi nak bari. Pogum ni lagi. Aduh. Nak peluk atam kan yang tenar rupai sekali no. Ada ahat sekali si pak.
Elok dah perlu.
When Sunday came, a large group of students ran and hid in the jungle. While the older children eventually returned, Noreen and her friends became lost. Corporal punishment of girls is not allowed in Malaysia. But former students like Ju say it was common at their school.
Dan kami semua kena masa tu. Dia pukul.
All of us got it. They hit us and caned us. They said we were showing attitude. They said we don't take care of things and we don't follow orders.
It seems the school has changed little since then.
Dan ada itu juga cikgu denda dia.
They would punish them by making them hold tables and chairs over their heads under the hot sun.
Cikgu tu dengan
Sometimes they gave them stale food with worms inside.
makanan yang dah lama.
Education officials refused to address these allegations, but told us they are committed to teaching the children. This government-run school is only for Orang Asli students from impoverished families. Their homes can be hours away, so the children, some as young as 7, live as well as study here. It's their only choice for education since the government shut down schools in their village.
Yalah sebab
We are Aboriginal and we have no education. So the only hope we have for our children is through their education. But the teachers don't treat them well because we're indigenous.
kadang-kadang ada cikgu yang cakap asli bodoh.
Some teachers say that we Orang Asli are stupid. Not just the teachers, but the local Malay community too. They taunt us and say that we are pig eaters.
The school is now in crisis because many parents are refusing to send their children back. The new principal is desperate.
Tolong saya. Nah, kita sama-sama bantu. Pihak sekolah bantu ribu aku kena bantu pihak sekolah.
He says he'll upgrade facilities and improve security. And to help them cope with their loss, he promises this.
Saya ingin menjemput. Malam ini kita buat pertandingan karaoke antara kampung. Nah, jadi saya pulang wakil-wakil kampung untuk adik malam ini. Kita bagi hadiah mana menjadi negara.
Also present at the meeting is a member of the state government and an education official. They tell parents that their children must return soon.
Pada sampai ke tahap ini, kehadiran sekolah, anak-anak ke sekolah kita tidak puas hati lagi. Masih di tahap rendah. So kita bagi ruang kepada mereka sebab kita percaya bahawa ibu bapa dan anak-anak dan pelajar-pelajar di sekolah atau ini masih dalam keadaan trauma. Maafkan mereka. Saya harap pihak sekolah maafkan mereka.
So there have been allegations of abuse against children that attended this school, that they were beaten by teachers, they were given off food, and there was no security. Sometimes the teachers didn't come to school at all. Are you investigating any of this?
Selain daripada saya tak nak boleh komen.
Has anybody been sacked over this? Because the children have identified which teachers abused them. Have any of the teachers that worked here been fired or been reprimanded?
Saya rasa no komen.
Would you send your own children there?
Yes, this is the school. We don't come to the school where else we want to go.
But you don't think the school is responsible for what happened to those children?
Nobody wants the commission. The people lost, people die, people in accident. Nobody wants that, but it's happened to us. So we believe it's from the gods.
But should somebody be punished for what happened to the students?
Who want to be punished? Who's wrong in this case? I don't see.
Outside, the families of the dead children tell me they are upset by what they've heard.
He's downplaying what happened to our kids, and he's just saying these things to get us to send our children back. But if he wants our children to return, I'm worried that this will happen again.
Back in Panad village, a dark shadow hangs over the tribe. With the community in turmoil, the village has organised a ceremony to invoke their god and help Mida's daughter heal. They believe she's possessed by a dark spirit that lives in the trees. While it helped her survive the jungle, they say, now it won't leave. These rituals have been practiced by the Orang Asli for over 1,000 years. As the indigenous people of Malaysia, they have always relied on the forest for their spirituality and their survival. To help us understand just how important the jungles are to the Orang Asli, we're invited on a hunt the next morning. Dendi Johari is a young tribal leader who is training to be a traditional healer.
We can feel the beauty of the natural environment and our hearts are close to the forest because the forest is like a shelter for us.
Dendi is our guide through this grueling trek, but along the way, he makes sure we have plenty of food and water.
Come, try. This they call kadoda. This is clean water.
Okay.
You can feel better. Alright.
It's
How
very
you feel?
cold.
Cold.
It's very cold and sweet.
Yeah, this when your stomach not good, not feeling well, your stomach, you just drink this one.
While we struggle to keep up, the tribesmen are completely at ease, hiking barefoot for hours.
Babi, kaki babi.
They're tracking wild boar and monkeys. But they also show us plants they use for medicine.
This for flu.
For flu. Oh, it smells very strong. Dendi says the forest is like his private supermarket because it has everything his people need. But his natural sanctuary is disappearing. Just a few kilometers away from us, the land is being cleared despite the protests of Dendi and the local tribe. Here, they are making way for a rubber plantation.
We made a police report a few months ago. We sent a letter to the government. We have sent a letter to the Department of Orang Asli Development. We have also sent a letter to the King and the Forestry Department. We have taken all these action, but the government isn't paying any attention to us.
As the original inhabitants, the Orang Asli can claim customary rights over these areas. But by 2010, only 17% of those claims were recognised by the government.
Logging is in the interest of those in power. We, who are originally from here, we don't get any benefits and we are not given any compensation.
As we watch the loggers work, Dendi becomes visibly upset.
What's wrong?
There are no more forests. Our forests are gone. We don't have any more resources. There used to be a lot of animals, monkeys and all that here. Now it is all finished.
Every year, new logging licenses continue to be granted. The National Human Rights Commission says it's devastating the indigenous culture.
Kita tak nak duit. Kita nak hutan.
We don't want money. We want our forest. The forest is everything to the Orang Asli. Without it, there is no life. So the forest is like the pulse of the Orang Asli.
Sebagai nadi kehidupan orang asli. Nasedai leng aweng ering olok anu ceye nak tegas melweng
When we come back to the village, Orang Asli from distant communities have gathered to share in the parents' grief and to discuss what they can do. Dendi steps up to his role as a tribal leader, expressing his people's frustrations.
Kita 58 tahun kita berdiam diri. Sekarang ni saya tak tahan. Seperti kata bahasa kasar. Kalaulah anak kita dirampas, kan kita nak tunggu lagi. Kan kita nak tengok anak kita diambil orang, bantai apa semua. Kita kena lawan.
The death of their children has raised concerns about wider problems here. On almost every social indicator, from literacy to life expectancy, the Orang Asli lag behind other Malaysians. More than 30% live in poverty, much higher than the national average of 4%. They believe it's a result of racism and deliberate discrimination.
Kalau kita lihat dari dulu sampai hari ini, kita masih lagi ketinggalan zaman dari segi arus pembangunan. Kami dah muak lah dengan kerajaan Malaysia sebab mereka janji. Every year they promise but nothing they never. Kerajaan anggap binatang dengan orang asli macam adik-beradik.
These allegations of neglect are firmly rejected by JACOA, the government department in charge of taking care of the Orang Asli.
Whatever that we do, it is never appreciated by the people. Whenever they have received assistance, it is not appreciated.
The department is responsible for everything, from building infrastructure to providing healthcare for the tribe. In 2015, their budget was more than $80 million.
After I took the helm of the post in 2014, I made sure that every single cent that is spent for the indigenous must be fully spent, must be fully utilized. No compromise about integrity, no compromise about corruption.
But Jacoa's integrity is in question. Just weeks after attending the children's funeral, the department's deputy Nisra Nisranangit was charged with taking over $17,000 in bribes in exchange for awarding lucrative contracts for Orang Asli projects. Nisra has stepped down while contesting these allegations, and his boss claims that corruption in Jacoa is something he cannot prevent.
If it happened, it is sometimes beyond my capabilities. I do not know what's happened on the ground.
Even the judge in the Sharia court actually said the religious authorities have abused their power.
Lawyer Siti Kasim is a long-time advocate for indigenous rights. But now, she says, the situation has reached a tipping point.
In my mind, the Orang Asli is the forgotten community. If we don't do anything to help them to maintain their heritage and culture through education, we will eventually lose all Orang Asli, and these are our treasure. Kamu tak tahu yang ada 7 orang lagi keluar?
The tribe wants to take legal action over the children's deaths, and Siti has taken on the case. But she warns them the court battle could be long and painful.
Dan itu yang penting sekarang kamu orang kena beranilah. Sebab apa? Kemungkinan lepas kita file kes ini, Jacoa akan datang. Kementerian Pelajaran akan datang. Mereka akan cuba mendapatkan kamu orang menarik balik. Kalau satu ibu bapa tarik diri, kita jadi tak kuat tau.
Weeks after burying her son, Mida has come to lend support to another family hit by the tragedy. Sobri and Amek's 8-year-old daughter is still missing.
Jangan nak ini, hansen had kembut nak dapat he.
Memang nak main kelas ke mau umput ke
baju. Cuma mampu doa kau makna nak.
Seeing another mother's pain, Mida can no longer hold back her own grief. This family has not been able to bury their child, and they cannot accept that she's dead.
Last night I dreamt that my daughter came back. I thought it was real. She was wearing her uniform. She wore flowers and a necklace, and I thought my daughter was like a princess. She looked pretty. She said, "Dad, give me some food. I'm hungry." I asked her mother to get rice and vegetables for her and some tea. When she finished eating, we went back to sleep. Then I felt strange and woke up and looked for her, but she wasn't there anymore.
To find comfort, Mida often walks to the small graveyard where her son Haikal lies.
I don't have any more hopes for Haikal because he's no more. All I do is pray he's peaceful, like the rest of the children, that they are together. And even though he died so painfully, I hope he's in the same place as the other children, and I hope his soul is at peace.
In death as in life, the parents say it's their job to comfort their children and to assure them that they will never be forgotten.
Selama Allahnya bisa niaba yang pada di kan ilu-ilu halas cuma kani dan ogas kani atas supaya kani Kim berjuang hal nyunduh atas kuasanya berjek laki harap. Dan ilu yang petak kira selamatlah atas nak duh kani sakai berai mayu ki harap atas nyoblah menjaga. Dan kani pun masih kiingat manyob. Ada nak hela yang dapat di peta diminta selamat.